This is the last video of chapter 7. So we are talking about the 3 types of grasslands. This one, prairie, is temperate grassland. And then this one you can see in America, in the state of Illinois. And then with the white flowers in bloom. This is a very beautiful environment. So you can tell the temperature with a little bit of change with winter and summer, but a lot of precipitation compared with the desert area. Okay, so just remember another name of temperate grassland is a prairie. They have cold winters and hot and dry summers. They have a tall grass prairies or short grass prairies. Because the above ground parts of most of the grass, so the grass is short, right? The above ground part die and decompose each year. And organic matter accumulates to produce a deep, fertile soil. So in grassland, the nutrients is in the soil. So this one is often converted into farmland. And then you can tell when you convert it to farmland, you grow one kind of monoculture crop. This one is greatly reduce the biodiversity. So remember one human impact like that. And then when you look at Arctic tundra, so this one means cold grassland, another name, okay? So this one, we have a little bit more precipitation than cold desert, but not much. But the temperature is still very, very cold. So this area, there's one part in America. This one is Arctic National Wildlife Refuge. So in the summer, you have a melt snow and then have a short period of time of grass growing season. So plants, their strategy, so plants are close to the ground to conserve heat. Most growth in short summer, and then the animals have thick fur to keep themselves warm. Another thing in this area is called permafrost. So this one is the underground soil that stays frozen. When they're frozen, they hold water, right? So they have to stay frozen for at least 2 years consecutively. So those parts called permafrost. And then the Arctic tundra is pretty much like alpine tundra. So this one, they are not in Arctic area, but they're in the top of the tall mountain. And then they resemble the similar property of biomes like Arctic tundra. So the difference, you would say, however, the alpine tundra and then the Arctic tundra are not the same. So since they are in normal areas, the alpine tundra, they receive more sunlight through the year compared with the Arctic tundra. Now we look at forests. We also have 3 types of forest: tropical, temperate, and cold area. In the cold area, they are called northern, coniferous, and boreal forests. So this one is tropical rainforest. Look how abundant the precipitation, and year-round the temperature is high. So this one hosts most of the biodiversity. Tropical rainforest, hot and high moisture, stratification of specialized plant and animal niches. They have a rapid cycling of scarce soil nutrients. So in tropical rainforest, the nutrients is in the living things, not in the soil. So keep that in mind. So tropical rainforest has a very high net primary productivity and high biodiversity. Although tropical rainforest only cover 2% of the Earth's surface, and they contain at least 50% of non-terrestrial plant animal species. We learned this one in chapter 3. So one unique thing about tropical rainforest, there is little plant litter builds up on the ground due to rapid decomposition and taking up processes of nutrient cycling. So as a result, tropical rainforests are lack of fertile topsoil. So their nutrients is not in the soil, but the nutrients in the living thing. So far, at least half of the tropical rainforests have been destroyed or disturbed by human activities, such as farming and cattle production. And then this one, you see the leaf falling, changing color. This is a temperate deciduous forest. And then this part also had a lot of precipitation, but the temperature fluctuated through the season. And then for temperate deciduous forest, this one has a cooler temperature and less moisture compared with the tropical. They have a broad-leaf deciduous trees, slow rate of decomposition. So as a result, they accumulate a thick layer of slowly decaying leaf litter. So that's a house of nutrients. So whenever you see a thick layer of slowly decaying leaf litter, you immediately think of this one is not a tropical but a temperate deciduous forest. Okay, so temperate deciduous forests have been degraded by various human activities, especially logging and urban expansion. So this part is more disturbed than any other terrestrial biomes. We have repeated this key point again and again. And then in the colder area, the forests are called northern coniferous forest. So they also have more precipitation than their grassland, than their desert, but the temperature year-round is much colder than tropical and then temperate. So the evergreen conifer forests, also called boreal forest or taigas, they have cold winters, few species of cone-bearing trees, slow decomposition. And then in some time in the coastal conifer areas, you also see those scattered trees because there's a lot of moisture from ocean. Now we have an important part, is talking about the mountains. Remember, the local geographic structure would impact the climate. So mountain with the steep, high elevation lands. So they have the majority of the world's forest. They have an island of biodiversity. They are habitats of endemic species. For now, just to understand, endemic is very unique, special species. We will learn this concept later. So they help regulate Earth's climate. And then, guys, the last point is important. This one is a major storehouses of water. They play key role in hydrologic cycle. So about 1.2 billion people, this is 17%, live in mountain areas. But about 4 billion people, so this one is more than half, about 56%, depend on mountain system for all or some of their waters. So this is a key point you need to remember. 50% of the population on this earth rely on the water melting coming down from the mountain. So when the glacial ice and snow covering mountain tops, they reflect solar energy away. So this is the albedo effect. However, when they melt away, they would accelerate global warming. So this one is another positive feedback loop. So this is a beautiful mountain picture. And then lastly, we're going to quickly look at human activity, how humans have impacted those forest, desert, and grasslands. So overall, this number needed to remember, about 60% of the world's major terrestrial ecosystems are being degraded, obviously by human beings, because we have totally expanded our ecological footprint. So this slide is important. You need to spend some time to look at this slide because you need to know at least one human impact on desert, on grassland, on forest, on mountain, and then how that human activity impact that area. So for example, we pick up one. This one is grassland. Remember, they have fertile topsoil. So this one, human have converted the prairie into cropland. This is called human activity. So what is the consequence? The consequence is greatly reduce the biodiversity. So please take some time to look through the desert, grassland, forest, and mountains. Okay. This diagram you don't have to memorize, but you need to be impressed to see how humans have damaged the biodiversity. So the red part are critical and endangered. Pretty, you can say at least half or majority, right? And the threatened is the dark green part, dark brownish part. And then relatively unstable is not much. So this is alarm for our practice, our life. So one last part for you to remember is when we talk about biomes, they are not fixed. They will not say forever that part is desert, forever that part would be savanna. So they change with the natural changes, also change with the human activities. So this one is a overall a long time change of some areas. For example, look at the light green. This one is warm, temperate evergreen forest. So this 10,000 years ago is only up to this level. But 5,000 years ago, this one expanded. And then recent 200 years, because human interfere, and then they somehow changed with the prairie, with the other change. So just remember the boundary of the biomes are not fixed. Okay, they're changing with natural changes and with human activity impact. So a quick summary of the chapter 3. So differences in climate mainly is the average temperature and precipitation. This one would determine the types and locations of Earth's deserts, grasslands, and forests. And then the Earth's terrestrial systems provide important ecological and economical services to us. Human activities are degrading and disrupting many of the ecological and economical services provided by the Earth's terrestrial ecosystems. So if we put all the ideas together for chapter 7, so climate plays a key role in determining the nature of terrestrial ecosystems. The Earth's dynamic climate system helps distribute heat from solar energy and recycle the Earth's nutrient. Lastly, in nature, everything is connected. Okay, thank you for watching. I believe this is the last slide of chapter 7. And then I hope you would do well on the quiz on the test. Thank you.